Hello everyone, my name is Gary Supreme, and today is Sunday, March 8th, and I have quite a few stories here today, and many of them very interesting. The last week has not been a good week in my opinion for professional wrestling, and well, first of all, if you are not already subscribed, punch that subscribe button, hit that like, and subscribe and like this channel, please. The more likes and subscribes I get, the more likely people are gonna be willing to see this, and more likely to see this. This is, as I said, this has not been a great week for wrestling. We've seen Bill Goldberg take the Universal title off The Fiend just last week. And again, I still ask why. We then, the day after on Friday, we saw Goldberg come out and say it's not about who's last, it's about who's next. And he came out, and then Roman Reigns came out, and he's like, I'm next. Excuse me? WWE, you're just gonna give this guy a free pass? No Elimination Chamber match? Nothing? I am just aghast at that decision. I don't understand it. I'm not really feeling it. I mean, Goldberg versus, Lesnar. It might as well be Lesnar, but Goldberg versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title? You've already just completely removed any interest that I had in that match. I think that this could have been a generational match, like Rock versus Hogan, but to make this your Universal title match when we all know Goldberg is losing, so why are we coronating Roman for a 5th time at WrestleMania? You know that Roman is not over. He's not. And it's nothing against Roman. It's nothing against Goldberg. It's the way these guys are booked. These guys are, Roman anyway, is a great talent. Goldberg got over with having 2 moves. A spear and a jackhammer. 2 moves, folks. So, and then he goes on this, podcast, I guess, is what you would call it, called The Bump, and states that he's been painted as the bad guy, and that people that don't like him are in the minority. Listen, Goldberg, I don't know if you've heard 99% of the podcasters out there or the fans out there, but nobody was for you taking the title off of Bray Wyatt. We wanted The Fiend versus John Cena with the title on the line, and The Fiend winning and beating John Cena and getting his win back from Cena that he lost at WrestleMania 6 years ago at WrestleMania 30. Here's the problem with this whole scenario. Number one, and again, another thing that happened on SmackDown 2 weeks ago, because last night's, or Friday night, SmackDown was, like, you wouldn't even think there was a pay-per-view today. and I'm taping this. This is clearly before Elimination Chamber. I'm hoping it gets up by Elimination Chamber. But why? And that's going to be a very heavy question I have going into WrestleMania. Why? I just don't understand a lot of what's going on right now in WWE. This WrestleMania build is not looking good. And that's not even me saying that is WWE. That's me saying that as a legit fan looking at this build. This does not look like WrestleMania. I mean, if nothing else, it looks like a SummerSlam. But WrestleMania, the showcase of the Immortals, is not looking that way. If you look at the card, you have Goldberg versus... And this is another thing. Who are you going to put on last? Is it going to be Goldberg and Roman? Or is it going to be Brock and, Drew McIntyre? McIntyre had to win the Royal Rumble. And that's not an easy feat, by the way. I don't care what number you come in at. You had to win the Royal Rumble in order to face Brock Lesnar. What did Roman have to do? Jack shit. So, and it was rumored he was going to have to go through the Elimination Chamber. That never happened. Not a one. It was made a tag team title match, and Roman was gifted a spot at WrestleMania. Now, I want to talk about something else that a lot of people aren't talking about. Now, in no way am I, downplaying the fact that Roman had cancer. He did. Until somebody says, oh my God, or proves that his cancer wasn't real, I guarantee that it was. So, all that aside, Roman versus Goldberg. Goldberg is saying he deserves a rematch for the Universal title from like 2 years ago. Goldberg, and I don't know if they're going to play to this, but I guarantee after the Elimination Chamber is over, don't be surprised if they do, that, oh my gosh, he deserves a rematch because he had to forfeit his Universal title. Granted, this was a year and a half ago. A year and a half ago. October of 2018. So keep that date in your mind. He came back February of 2019. Now, 2019, obviously, Seth was going to fight for the WWE, or the Universal title, because I was still on Raw. And then it was already deemed that, Kofi was fighting for the Universal. So there was nothing for Roman to take. So, you're telling me a year and a half later, Roman deserves a title shot for a title that he never lost. Just like Goldberg deserves a title shot for a title he never lost. Folks, people lose titles in this business. Sometimes they never actually lose them. But unfortunately, and this is unfortunately, you lose titles. And sometimes it's through injury. Sometimes you don't get a rematch. Whatever. But I'm tired of it being a WWE trope that these guys that basically don't deserve a title match are getting a title match. It is a bothersome problem, and it's turned WrestleMania into a joke. And here's another thing that's turned WrestleMania into a joke. Year 2 WWE and Universal title holders right now are part-time champions. Like, are you serious? Anyway, another thing that happened this week, and I wish him the best. Scott Steiner is in the hospital. I guess he's having heart problems. I wish him nothing but the best. Getting back to WWE, and that's all, and this is all I've really got to say on WWE for the moment, because, well, on WWE, and then I'm gonna flip it to AEW news for the moment, and then end with some Elimination Chamber stuff. WWE, and I know Vince, and we all know his mentality with the women. I mean, Stephanie can say she's in charge of the women's division as much as she'd like, but when you have nothing but blondes in your women's division, and many of the women have enhancements, and you've got Nia Jax, who's good and healthy. Instead of saying you're healthy, you're taking shots of yourself in what looks to be lingerie. Yeah, way to show them that you're fighters and this and that. You know, very lowbrow. But, and it's not a good aesthetic to be doing that. There are women in that division, I'm sure, that do not appreciate that. Now, why, though, and this is where I don't understand. You groomed Shayna Baszler to be this unstoppable killer, right? But Shayna Baszler, and, you know, this is no knock on Shayna Baszler, but she's not someone that you're going to give enhancements to and then fix the problem. With all due respect to Shayna Baszler, she looks like she's been hit with the ugly stick a few times. But her ring acumen is probably one of the best in that company. They don't call her the submission magician for no apparent reason. You know? And after one match that was heel versus heel on Monday Night Raw, and yes, people were chanting a little bit, you know, just a little, "This is boring," when she was facing Kairi Sane. Now, if you've watched the Kairi Sane matches with Shayna Baszler from NXT, you know that these two can put on a clinic in the ring. What happened on Monday Night Raw? They didn't get the time, and they didn't build up the story. They were just said, hey, let's put these two together because they've had great matches before. That's not going to work. I don't get it. And it's been rumored since we saw Cain Velasquez and Ronda Rousey in Stamford, Connecticut, I believe. I don't believe it was the Performance Center. I have just a thought. You have all three members of the Riot Squad in the Elimination Chamber tonight. How much you want to bet that, Ronda Rousey goes in, takes out one of the members of the Riot Squad, let's say Sarah Logan or Liv Morgan, who have been booked horribly, and takes their place, wins the match, and we get Ronda Rousey versus Ronda Rousey. Excuse me, we lost an hour last night, but Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch. Everyone thought it was going to be Shayna Baszler, but a lot of people have said that it's soured on Shayna Baszler. Case in point, a lot of this came from Dave Meltzer and Pro Wrestling Observer. Honestly, if that happens, I would be very disappointed. You had Shayna Baszler go out there, bite her in the neck like she was Nosferatu, and have her bleed, and you're going to sour on her after one heel versus heel match? Really? Really? That's your perspective? Man, no patience. No patience. You gotta build people. Build people up. Tell a story. And this is, a nice transition to what I'm about to talk about. You have three different types of fans. You have the, old school type of fan. You have the like it for what it is fan, and if you don't like it, don't watch, which those people drive me up a wall, and I'll explain in a minute. And then you've got the, progressive type of fan that likes the smaller wrestlers getting the better spots. Case in point, Finn Balor and freaking Walter at NXT or at TakeOver, Tampa. That is going to be such an awesome show. The way that's looking, that is going to blow away WrestleMania. And just to throw some matches out there, you have Walter versus Balor, which is going to be excellent. Then you have Gargano versus Ciampa, which is going to be excellent. I don't know who's fighting for the title. North American title is going to be the NXT title is Velveteen versus Adam Cole. That is going to be just astounding. You more than likely are going to see Damian Priest versus Damian Priest versus Keith Lee for the North American title. I mean, this is turning out to be quite good. I don't think the women's title is going to be on TakeOver. I think they're going to save that for WrestleMania because, and it's already been said that the Charlotte versus, excuse me, my throat's giving me, it's, it is, allergy season, so forgive me. But yes, Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley is going to be at WrestleMania, not at TakeOver. Now, what's interesting is the tag titles. We don't know who the Bruiserweights are fighting yet. It is going to be interesting to see what happens, but it's looking like that's going to be Undisputed Era. Don't quote me on that one though. But it is going to be very interesting. Now, hold on for a moment. I need to take a drink. It is right on the table. So, now we get to AEW, and this is going to be very, very interesting. For those that have not seen it, I really have to say, many of you did not want Matt Hardy to go to AEW. Many of you wanted Matt Hardy to stay in WWE. Fortunately, it does not look like he is staying in WWE if you have seen the last episode of Freeing the Delete. As it's been a few days now, I don't think this is a spoiler. At the end of it, the Young Bucks show up, and they're talking about freeing Zenith from Matt Hardy's body. I guarantee Matt Hardy's going to show up in, AEW in some sort of way. I don't know how, but it is going to happen. I don't think you do this and still work for WWE. It's over. So I think all the, Matt Hardy marks out there that we're hoping he would re-sign with WWE, that's not happening. So, granted, he can work with the Young Bucks and still work other places, like Impact or ROH or whatever, but I don't see him re-signing with WWE after this. And now the rumors about him being the Exalted One are all over the place. I think that you probably have a good 60% probability that he is the leader of the Dark Order. So, again, I'm going to take this drink and say, I told you so, people. Because I told you so. I told you he was going to leave. And I told you that he was going to AEW. As soon as he said on his In the Throne Room or whatever he calls it, podcast, that he wanted freedom for his creative palette, he was going to AEW. Because WWE don't give anybody freedom on their creative palette. So, cheers to Matt Hardy. He made the right decision creatively. Another thing that currently is happening with AEW, a lot of people are whining and crying about, AEW is just using WWE old-timers and this and that. Jake the Snake was on Dynamite this last Wednesday, and he is, he came on there, said he had a client, kind of, Paul Heyman-esque type of deal, and we don't know who that client is. If I had to guess, it'd be Brody Lee, but I don't like to assume. It could be Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy may not be the leader of the Dark Order, but that kind of thing just fits him like a glove. And but I think, and I honestly believe, that Brody Lee is the client of Jake the Snake. That is, I think, a great way to move Cody, because he confronted Cody, said he was a whiner, that he should stop whining and crying about MJF, etc., etc., And I think this is a good way to move him, because it moves him in a different direction and into a different feud. So props to AEW on that. Also, we are looking at the Jurassic Express facing some higher tier people this coming week. And we're also looking, I believe there was another spoiler on Dynamite here online. So let me take a really quick look here. Huh. Oh my goodness. So, AEW put out a message, and it's supposedly from the Dark Order. Now, it says, made from the void of hopelessness, and from the time spent away with the shadows. This is what it took for me to arrive, the calling. Hello, are you there, ready and waiting? Dark Order welcomes me. You are here. Now, if you take the first letter of each sentence, that's MATTHARDY. Matt Hardy. So, I don't know what else to tell you guys. I really don't. That was put out by the Dark Order on AEW's website a couple of days ago. And it was, let me check. Oh, that was put out yesterday. So it's very interesting, and I do mean very interesting, how that was put out yesterday. Because I did hear about this. I thought they'd put it out on Wednesday, but apparently who told me about this was wrong about the date. So it was put out yesterday. I would definitely be watching Dynamite this Wednesday, because if Matt does come out and which is a very good possibility. It's going to tell all these people that, oh, Matt Hardy's going to go back to WWE. Guess what? It's very sweet to know I'm right. Very sweet. Now, I called Matt Hardy as the Exalted One a long time ago, because I heard they didn't have a plan. A lot of people thought it was going to be Brody Lee. Part of me thought that was a possibility. I seen like a top 10 possibilities from like What Culture. Now there was one that caught me, which was Ted DiBiase Jr. That would not shock me. If that ends up being the Exalted One, that would not shock me. The guy literally said he was retired from wrestling, but that was before the existence of AEW. And it still wouldn't shock me if he came back to wrestling. And you heard it here first. As far as podcasts, it wouldn't shock me if he came back. Now, Brian Cage is also supposedly someone that is supposedly the leader of the Dark Order. I'm not holding my breath on that one, but stranger things have happened. So, but right now, my money's on Matt Hardy. That is absolutely what my money is on. So, I don't know what to tell you other than that. I did get a chance to see Revolution. Revolution was a revolution, and it took the bad taste in my mouth. Like, Revolution was, Blood Money 5, otherwise known as Super Showdown or Crown Jewel, that put such a bad taste in my mouth. And then all of a sudden, Revolution was like this stuff. Very sweet, very ginger on the mouth. And I have to say, man, that Revolution pay-per-view, I loved every single match. Every single match. And match of the night, to me, I love that tag team title match. That was the best tag team wrestling I have seen in years. I'm not even kidding on that one. Years. Like, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've seen a tag team title match quite like that since Usos versus New Day in a steel cage at Hell in a Cell. I'm not even joking. Like, WWE has not produced a match like that ever. Maybe in NXT. Maybe. I'll give NXT the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure I'm not thinking entirely. But I wasn't... I liked the Aleister Black Ricochet stuff, but I wasn't blown away by it. I also liked the Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle stuff, but I wasn't blown away by it. If that makes any sense. When Undisputed Era won the titles from, I believe it was Street Profits, that was a fairly good match. And I liked the Street Profits in NXT. Street Profits were a great team in NXT. Now, they are on a show which has no division and whatever, but oh my goodness, AEW's tag team division, that is like, if WWE's here, AEW's up here as far as tag team wrestling. And you can argue that to your heart's content. It's the truth. That's why, the Revival, who was not included in the tag team, because, Roman shouldn't have to fight for his way to WrestleMania. So they decided to do a tag team elimination chamber, which makes zero sense as far as I know. And it doesn't, phonetically make sense. Like, why do you need an elimination chamber to prove that you should be a tag team champion? Like, the tag team championships are not something that is normally thrown around in that way. Like, we haven't seen a decent tag team push for that entire division. And rumor has it that the Revival, the only way they were going to stay was if they got some sort of control over the tag team division. They wanted to push tag team wrestling. And they did not get that, and so they are leaving. That is why they were not included in the tag team Hell in a Cell. Just for everyone's information. But Revolution, getting back to that, it was an amazing show. And I am so happy to have seen it. Jon Moxley made some gaffes as he was making up a speech after he defeated Jericho, which was a great match. Orange Cassidy versus Pac. It was one of those very funny indie matches that you'd normally see. And, it was a great pay-per-view. I encourage everyone that hasn't seen it to go watch it, because it is a pay-per-view that's actually worth watching. What a concept. So, in that sense, I think AEW, with this Matt Hardy stuff, if they get Matt Hardy, Brian Cage, The Revival, and Brody Lee, yowie wowie, that's going to be a lot of AEW stuff going on. Good for that company. I think that there's definitely some good things coming out of that company. I don't know where their tag team division's going at this point. Obviously, they do about 2.5 months, about 5 pay-per-views a year. So, where we go from here is unknown. So, with AEW at least. Speaking of unknowns, we're going to transition back to Elimination Chamber. I'm going to make a couple predictions, and then I am going to get out of here. And hopefully, by the time I do my next video, which probably won't be, too far off, I'll have myself some more equipment here. But, because I know I keep teasing everybody about upgrading. Trust me, I am about to upgrade. Anyhow, so Elimination Chamber. Let's see what is actually on the docket for this, because you watched SmackDown, and I'm going to tell you, you wouldn't know that there was a pay-per-view on a go-home show like SmackDown. Like, everything was WrestleMania build, WrestleMania build, WrestleMania build, Goldberg and Roman Reigns and Cena and Wyatt. I just don't get the big deal between Cena and Wyatt. There's no title involved. You put it on friggin' Goldberg. Like, I would care more about Cena and Wyatt if it was Cena chasing 17 and Wyatt chasing his win back. Now all this is Wyatt chasing his win back after Cena gave a long-winded speech last Friday about how he wasn't going to take up a spot. And what does he turn around and do but take up a spot at WrestleMania? He was supposed to give that, quote-unquote, to younger talent.
Oh.
I just love how this company is so hypocritical in that way. Can we not? You know how many people literally sit back in catering just waiting to get used? Why are we bringing in all of these okay boomers this year for WrestleMania? I don't get it. I truly don't. You've got Undertaker versus, AJ Styles, which makes no sense to me at all. I mean, and we've not seen The Undertaker since Super Showdown. Hopefully we will see him on, it would be Monday, because AJ's on Raw, to make sense of all of this Topeka Mountain Trophy business that happened at Blood Money 5. Then, we've got Roman versus, Braun Strowman. No, it's Roman versus Goldberg, which you could have done that match without the title. I'm sorry, but no. Goldberg does not need a damn title to make this match relevant. Spear versus Spear. That's all you needed. Then you've got, Lesnar versus McIntyre. Then you've got Cena versus The Fiend. I mean, that's like 4 okay boomer matches. Like, can we not? Plus, we don't know if Triple H is doing anything. God forbid Triple H jumps into this mix. I mean, really? Is this necessary? And then if they turn it into Kane and Undertaker and Aleister Black versus the OC, I think I'm going to bang my head against the wall. Because that's so many okay boomers in that match. No. Okay? We don't need like 8 guys at WrestleMania, which is supposed to be a built-up pay-per-view. We have 4 weeks until WrestleMania. 4. And I think there's 3 matches, or 4, excuse me. I forgot Charlotte and Rhea Ripley that are confirmed. Charlotte, Rhea Ripley, Brock and Drew McIntyre, which was confirmed after the Royal Rumble, The Fiend versus John Cena, and then Roman versus Goldberg. That's it. Those are the only things that are confirmed. That nobody and nothing for the tag titles are confirmed. Nothing is confirmed for the U.S. or the Intercontinental title, which, like I've said on multiple occasions, look at how far the Intercontinental title has fallen. Yuck. Can we please give this title to someone that will take care of it? I mean, 2018 and Seth Rollins, that was a great reign. And then you turned Rollins into just a loser after that. I don't understand. And that was with the Universal title. Granted, Hell in the Cell didn't help much with that. But just like now he's a preacher. Okay. But can we please do something relevant with Seth Rollins? He has the tag titles, I think. I don't know if he got them back. Or no, the Street Profits have the titles. Excuse me. I mean, that's how little these titles mean right now in this company. Can we do something relevant with the Street Profits, since the Street Profits, for the last, 8 months, have been sitting back and doing stupid skits and Monday Night Raw previews, where they're just saying, this person is so this, and that person is so that. Can we please? These guys are so freaking talented. I just don't understand. I truly don't. So, let's look at Money in the Bank. Or, excuse me, Money in the Bank. I wish. Elimination Chamber. So, hold on just a second. So, alrighty then. So these are the matches that are confirmed right now for the Elimination Chamber. Hold on, just uno momento, por favore. Alrighty then. So, we have AJ Styles versus Aleister Black, and that match is no disqualification. This is where I think we get our OK Boomer scenario with Kane and then the OC. I honestly believe that's where this happens. I think this is a WrestleMania setup. Nothing more. And then we've got Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. You know, I saw the build-up for this on SmackDown. I don't know if Daniel Bryan's trying to give Drew Gulak the rub. He's a great wrestler. I'm not knocking Drew Gulak. But the way this guy's been pushed with his PowerPoint presentations, etc., not good. So, I don't... Daniel Bryan, from what I've heard, has... And this is from other podcasters, not from actual sources. Does have a lot of pull backstage. So, hey, it could be. Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo for the U.S. title. My money's on Humberto, because I think that if they leave it on Andrade, you're congratulating a man for getting a wellness policy violation. So, how about no? The Street Profits versus Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy for the Raw Tag Team titles. And yes, I know it's Murphy, but it's Buddy Murphy from the time I started learning it. I'm not just going to swap just because WWE wants everyone to forget that his first name is Buddy. Ooh. It's just like Andrade Cien Almas and many other names like Mustafa Ali. But, you know... And no, I'm not going to call Chad Gable that ridiculous name. Anyway, then you have Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. One of two things is going to happen here. We are either going to have three guys that are excellent talents. Three excellent talents get squashed by someone with no talent. And yes, I just said that Braun Strowman has no talent. So sue me. I've watched this guy on numerous occasions, and all he does is just run fast. Look, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news for Braun Strowman, but you know, you're not a WrestleMania guy. They literally put you, this time last year, against two guys from Saturday Night Live. Really? You want me to take you seriously after that? So, really, this looks to me to be a burial not only of Cesaro, Nakamura, and freaking Sami Zayn, but it's a burial of the Intercontinental title. Why are we putting the Intercontinental title on guys that I just don't think deserve it? For the love of God, put the title on Cesaro. Please, give me a worthy IC champ. Or how about this? Put the title back on Nakamura and then turn him face. He's been a heel for 1.5 years and he has zero buzz around him. Everybody just hums his song anyway. So please, do. Then we have Shayna Baszler, Asuka, Natalya, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. Number 1 contender elimination match. I've already told you how I feel. And I told you about Ronda Rousey being around, Stamford, Connecticut with Cain Velasquez. So, and then we have our wonderful tag team match, which I hope to God is the beginning bookend to this show. It's The Miz and John Morrison, New Day versus the Usos, Heavy Machinery, Lucha House Party, and Ziggler and Bobby Roode. Number 1, the only reason Ziggler and Roode are in there is because the company don't like the Revival right now. So, the tag team division, at least on SmackDown, is Miz and John Morrison, New Day, Usos, Heavy Machinery, Lucha House Party, and then, Ziggler and Roode. First of all, why is Lucha House Party even getting a shot? Why? I would love for someone to explain to me what the Lucha House Party has done. Like, at all. Like, I do not ever see this team. Like, ever. And you're telling me that they, of all people, deserve a title shot? That's funny. Maybe a shot at the cake and catering. But please, backstory. Have them win 3 or 4 matches before you shove them in a title match, especially an Elimination Chamber. Roode and Ziggler have done more than Lucha House Party. And granted, Roode and Ziggler have lost all their matches and are only in here because the Revival are leaving. But still, they've done more than Lucha House Party, and yet they've still lost. So why are they in here? My personal belief in wrestling is you have to win matches. Win being the key word. Not just be used, but win matches in order to be important. So, I get the Usos. They haven't lost. And here's another fun fact. A fan tweeted out this week, why did you just bury Miz and Morrison to the Usos? Did you really just put out, or did you really just have your champions lose clean on live television? Do you know who responded back to that tweet? It was Bray Wyatt with one word. Yes. Folks, I'm just going to say this, just to say it, because it needs to be said. Why? And 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 Goldberg can act like he's the victim here. He's not the damn victim. Give me a break. A 52-year-old guy like that, who is a Hall of Famer, probably has a lot of pull. He could have pulled Vince aside and said, I don't think this is the right thing to do right before WrestleMania. I think that me and Roman, who, by the way, people were chanting, you both suck, when he came out last week and challenged, Goldberg. Goldberg could have pulled Vince aside and said, I don't think it's the right thing to do to take the title off Bray Wyatt. Ipso facto, that's not an issue. But instead, a guy who does not care, apparently, about new guys in this business, decided, I am going to bury this guy. Regardless if he was hit by 5-6 chair shots, 50 curb stomps, and a toolbox and a ladder. And still didn't stay down. I just will never understand that mentality. Ever. So right now, that is what we have got. That is what's going on right now. Honestly, as far as winners for the Elimination Chamber, AJ Styles, Aleister Black, I just have a sneaking suspicion AJ is winning that match. Just because it's no DQ, and I think the OC get involved. I do. I think this may be a feud going into WrestleMania, but I again, do not hold your breath. Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. I think the company will push the company line and have Daniel Bryan win. But that would, maybe not. Maybe Gulak wins here and Bryan wins at Mania, because Bryan did lose last year at WrestleMania, so they may want to avoid that. But again, like I said earlier, Daniel Bryan has a lot of creative control now. Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo for the U.S. title. I'm gonna say Humberto becomes U.S. champion. I do. I think Andrade's, wellness violation is going to come back to haunt him. Street Profits versus Seth Rollins and Murphy. I almost think, and I'm going to say this, I'm a little reluctant, but I think it's going to be Seth Rollins and Murphy that get it back. Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke, Cesaro, and Sammy. I think it will be Braun that wins here. I think Braun then goes on to face whomever. I don't know who his opponent will be. Obviously, they can't redo this at WrestleMania, because right now, Vince is shopping, as I said in my previous podcast, Vince is shopping WWE pay-per-views to ESPN right now. So, if you want WrestleMania on ESPN Plus, I'd almost say have Cesaro take the title from Braun, and then have Cesaro fight Sheamus for the IC title at WrestleMania. That would be, oh my God, that would be a huge title match. But, Braun Strowman, I'm predicting I'll probably squash these three guys. They haven't been presented well, and I don't really like them being presented in this light. No, I like them, and I don't want to say I don't like them as a fan, but I don't like the way they're being presented as a fan. They're not jobbers. They should not be presented as jobbers. And all you've done to Nakamura and Cesaro is present them as jobbers since they came up to the main roster. They deserve better. Women's Elimination Chamber match. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's Ronda Rousey. I honestly believe it's going to be Ronda Rousey. That will probably be the OMG moment of the night because WWE continues to do that. Then we've got the tag team title one, which I think will probably open the show. I'm going to go Usos. I think the Usos take the titles into WrestleMania, have a rematch with Miz and Morrison, retain, then the Usos are your tag champions. So, I would hope at that point Miz and Morrison go their separate ways. Yes, I know some people like them together, but in my personal opinion, I want John Morrison to get a decent title run. I think it should be Morrison versus one of the other three guys for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. I honestly do. A Morrison versus Nakamura at WrestleMania? Sign me up! You know? Even Morrison versus, you know, I don't even care. Morrison versus Zayn. Morrison versus Cesaro. Any of those matches would be amazing for the Intercontinental title. Now, are they going to give Andrade a rematch if he loses the title to Humberto? Maybe. Or they might transition it to Angel Garza. I don't know. It is sort of funny, though. No WWE title. No Universal title. So both part-timers are not participating in this pay-per-view. Gee. I wonder why. Probably Blood Money 5, but, you know, such is life, I suppose. Granted, they were both defended or were in title matches like a week ago, so I guess that depends on the way you look at it. But then again, so were all of these people. So I guess it is what it is. So that's my predictions, a little bit of news for today. I will try to be back after the pay-per-view. If I'm not back after the pay-per-view, I am going to do a show, you know, at some point next week. So for all of you that are here, again, I'd like to say please subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and, you know, thank you for watching. This has been Gary Supreme with Sacktown Slam. I am signing off.